All right, I got another knife here for y'all. This is one that I believe a lot of people have talked about. I actually picked this guy up super early for when it was released, but hadn't quite started recording and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm taking a look at it now. This is the QSP Penguin. This is a cute little knife. It's not enormous, but it does a good job of being a 3.5 finger knife there, and very comfortable at that. I don't really have any problems with, my pinky not actually giving leverage if I want to use it that way. And it's got a D2 blade, fairly worn foot style, I guess you might want to say there. Which is it's a pretty neat design overall. I do quite like it. I think the star of the show, this one is in particular, the one in denim or jean micarta. And this might be some of the most pleasant micarta I've personally experienced. It's grippy. It's nice and soft, feeling like a nice, worn, comfortable pair of jeans that you just like to slip into. It's fantastic. And really amazing for the fact that, man, this knife, I think, goes for under $30. It's an amazing amount of value that you get here. One sacrifice that they did have to make on this is that it is on washers. It's not a ball bearings and the pivot sort of thing. And because of that, obviously you're not getting that fall shut action. But that's perfectly fine for what it is. Something that I had actually noticed is if I'm holding this and I really squeeze down on it, I can actually disengage the lock just because it's basically curling it over there. Where I really haven't experienced that on many other knives, but I mean, if you were gripping literally that hard on the knife, generally you're probably using it for something a knife shouldn't be used for, or you really should be trying to get up into a bit more of a big boy hard use knife, whereas this is, for general utility. So for its purpose, I don't really have a problem with it. It's got, it's not a full flat grind, but it's what I like to call a saber grind, about 3/4 of the way up. And yeah, it's not hollow ground, but it is super nice and thin behind the edge regardless. So this thing does slice quite well. And the blade stock on it isn't too horrible either. It's, where is it? Yeah, 2.95 millimeters, so just under 3 millimeters there, which is nice. I actually like that for some smaller knives. I much prefer that over, the really short, stocky, thick, beefy blades on them because it makes it more difficult to slice, which is what you're trying to do with these guys. But yeah, it's got a nice deep carry pocket clip that you can carry on either side. They do stick up a little bit. They're not, perfectly flush, but they don't stick up much. And it is kind of interesting that the pocket clip actually goes underneath the scale, and then the screws mount through the scale, the clip, and then into the liner. So it's a pretty interesting way that they did that there. Now it's got a lanyard oval sort of thing, but you don't really have like a tube or anything there. But it's nice and soft, so you don't really have to worry about, fraying paracord or whatever else you're doing with that. Like most of my knives, I do like to actually take them apart a little bit and, have people take a look at the inside of them. So I shall do just that. This is mostly T6 hardware, like, almost any other knives out there. T8's for the pivot, obviously. There we go. Now, the pocket clip is a little confusing on these guys because you have to actually get the screws all the way out for the pocket clip to actually move. Yeah. It'll move when it feels like it. All right, let's go for another backspacer here. Yep, no problems with that thing trying to free spin or anything like that. Usually I do, when I'm unscrewing something, keep my finger on the other side just to provide some resistance and whatnot to help things actually spin instead of, just spin around in their little sockets. So, yeah, there you go. You can see it's sliding out now, so. Well, whatever. I'll take the pivot out. We'll get that clip off. Don't you worry. Okay. And this guy's a little wedged in there, which makes sense to me, at least. It's a little tight between, the blade pen and whatnot. As I always say, if you're worried at all about scratching up a knife, don't use a metal spudger. They got plenty of plastic ones that do basically the same kind of thing. This just allows me to get a little bit of torque on there. This is actually it scraping up against a barrel spacer. I'm not doing anything super crazy to the blade here either. But yeah, it just makes it a little bit easier for trying to get this guy out. And man, this guy on the end is just holding on. All right. Well, how about if we take some stuff off from the front side too then, huh? There we go. Okay, so yeah, we got all up on the inside. No skeletonization happening here. It's fine. This knife is quite nice and light as it is. You can see that, yep, it is using phosphor bronze washers here. And if I remember right, I polished them just slightly. It's not something that anybody really needs to do, but I do tend to like, if I do have a knife already taken apart. It's also got nylon washers on it. Anyway, I'll get back to that. Anyway, for these guys, I do like when I have a knife disassembled, using a mouse pad material or something like this, I can actually put them there and rub it against the fabric on both sides. And if it catches anywhere, it's an easy way to tell if there's kind of a slight burr on them. And you can use just basically any kind of... I use a strop with, any kind of the polishing compound on there. And you basically just lay it on there and give it a nice, slight little polish. And you can check it back over here. These guys are super nice and smooth because I've actually taken care of that before. But yeah, this is one of those knives. Cold Steel does this quite often as well, where they do have phosphor bronze washers. And that usually interfaces with the liners there. But they also include the super thin little nylon washers as well. It's generally not my favorite. It's certainly the reason why the action on this isn't, as drop shutty as a lot of others would be, because it does provide quite a bit of friction there. But they do need it for the spacing, and it's just kind of the feel that they were going for the knife. So yeah. And yeah, these back spacers in here are super wedged in there. It's fine. They're easy enough to take out if you absolutely need to. But I don't really find a super large need to do so. So, yeah. Alright, so I was talking about this clip here. Let's actually get these screws out. Come on, buddy. It just wants to fight me every step of the way. That's fine. I suppose I'm used to it. Yay. Well, I mean, I can at least show you here that, yeah, it is inset into the liners the full way in, so it does sit flush on the inside. Obviously, it's going to have to because it doesn't have a notch over here. Yeah, those screws are starting to really annoy me, so... and I don't need to actually move it, so I'm just going to go ahead and tighten them back up and just move on with my life. Wow. At least push them back through a little bit because they actually do need to interface on the liner. Okay, so yeah. That's basically what we got going on the inside. We got phosphor bronze interfacing on the liners, but those phosphor bronze washers aren't actually interfacing with the blade. Now, you could do it the other way around and have the phosphor bronze interfacing with the blade and then have the nylon outside of that. It's really not going to help you out either way. It's not going to change the action necessarily on them at all. So, yeah, it's just kind of the way they designed it. And obviously, I mean, this is one of their more inexpensive knives in general. Yeah, because this guy's like $30, and I think a lot of their other guys will be, I don't know, like 50 to, well, 300 for some of their super crazy ones. But yeah, for the most part, these knives in general are quite affordable. So, yeah. We do have a D-shaped pivot, as I was just kind of showing you there. And it interfaces on the liner side. The other side is free spinning. I don't really have a problem with that. Sometimes it is nice to have it a D-shaped hole on both sides, just for, you know, consistency's sake, and makes actually lining up the holes on these things a lot easier later on. But it's not necessarily a deal breaker one way or the other. All right. So, yep, I'll just shove that guy back in there and then pull him right back off because I didn't put that stupid bronze washer on top. Okay. Right. All right, and I can slap this guy over here. So it's actually fairly intricate compared to a lot of other knives recently that have, you know, a couple of screws, like, you know, one on the pivot, maybe one or two in the back or whatever. So this guy's got a little bit more going on than that. You know, with the two back spacers as well as the clip, and well, that might be it. I don't know. All right. So yeah, let's get these screws back in. At least these are magnetic. Makes it easy to pick them up. And this is a T8 screwdriver, so that's why it wasn't fitting in there. Oh, we all have those days, I'm sure. I just typically have mine in a row. Close that guy up so I don't have to stab myself, because I don't necessarily like bleeding. It is not my favorite pastime. It's that signature slip of a T6 screw, unfortunately. This guy seems to be proud for one reason or another, so let's just apply a little good old-fashioned force. Alright, yep, no blade play or anything. Action's basically about the same there, and yeah, we're basically about center. So, cool. Yeah, that's the QSP Penguin for you. Probably, like I said earlier, my favorite micarta that I've personally had the opportunity to fondle and whatnot. It's, yeah, really can't say a whole lot of negative things about it. You can see that it's a little bit easier to see in person, but, you know, the color isn't, you know, absolutely the most uniform. You can see it's kind of a darker patch here, and then this section right here in the middle is kind of darker than around it. Yeah, it's not showing up on the camera as much as it is in, you know, in front of my eyes. But yeah, I don't really care all that much. I like the aesthetic of it as it is. You know, it just looks like, well, it's a nice used pair of jeans. So it might have some motor oil stains on it or whatnot. I don't really care. But yeah, this is a fantastic deal for the, what is it, like the $29.88 or something, you know, just right under $30 mark. It's absolutely a fantastic knife. If you're looking for, you know, one of those Warncliffe guys that's good for a lot of utility cutting or whatever, you really can't go wrong with it. Like I said, the only thing that I've really run into that's a negative is if I'm squeezing the ever-living crap out of the handle, I can actually disengage the lock. But yeah, under any normal use scenario, that's not something you need to worry about. So yeah, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and yeah, have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo.